As I was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with the comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Did you ever read you've never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
Meanwhile, how long did it take you both to finish reading Dune?
Oh, good question. The first time it took me a lot longer. I've read it 3 times. The second time I audiobooked it, I don't know if that counts. That time I found it easier to parse through, and the third time I loved it through and through. When I met Denis for the first time, I basically read like 70% of the book, and I'd annotated it really intensely, and I made sure to bring it to the meeting. So you saw little post-its jumping out of the book.
Yo people, welcome back to another video. Now with the massive success that has been Dune Part 2, it seems like the standards are being raised for the audience, content creators, for everyone all round. Now Dune is a movie that is a special occasion to go to the cinema. Good CGI, good story, good acting, good everything, and it made the cinema experience feel like it was worth going, more like the olden times when the cinema actually had purpose and it was a big event to actually go and watch a movie. When was the last time things like that could be said about a Disney movie? The only people hating on Dune are the ones that think the film is boring because they have the attention span of a TikTok kid. Ask these people who say it's boring to actually list you something about the film that they didn't like. They can't actually tell you anything. They just say, oh, it's boring, oh, I don't understand, and it just exposes the short attention span that they have. Anyways, like I was saying, standards are being raised after it feels like we were just trapped in a constant cycle of receiving average or just better than average content at best, and absolute trash for the most part. One of the main contributors to the garbage has been Disney, and apparently they're ready to pull the plug on shows and content that they've already created or have already started planning for. Disney never mentioned which projects in particular, but off the top of my head, I can instantly think of that Snow White movie, the Agatha show, the one that was meant to come out later this year, Ironheart, which has already been delayed like 3 times. So these are definite candidates of things that could have been cancelled, but we just won't know until later on. So the CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, he came out and he said, you have to kill things that you no longer believe in, and that's not easy in this business, because either you've gotten started, you have some sunk costs, or it's a relationship with either your employees or with the creative community. So he's basically said, you have to kill things that you no longer believe in. So are you telling me that they believed in the Marvels, Miss Marvel, Echo, She-Hulk, all of that crap? Is that what they're trying to say? I mean, it explains a lot if that's what they're trying to say. Also, in regards to the whole quote, if you knew your stuff and listened to the fans, you wouldn't be making garbage content that only appeals to the minority of people online, which are fake fans or part-time fans or people who aren't interested or people who are only there for the clout or people who only want the hype moments. They don't care about storylines. They don't care about the character development. They don't care about none of that stuff. They just consume. So again, if you weren't making content for them, maybe you wouldn't be losing money. Also, if you hired people who could at least write good content, good stories, and direct well, with good CGI, and at least read the source material, then if there is a weak project, then the story can at least be good and earn the respect of the audience and gain new eyes, and you can say that you tried something unique, you tried something different. Before, it used to be content was good and then you have the odd project that was not as good. Now the standards are content is garbage or not as good, and then the odd project is good. But anyways, Bob Iger also went on to say, it's not an easy thing, but you got to make those tough calls. We've actually made those tough calls. We've not been public about it, but we've killed a few projects already that we just didn't feel were strong enough. This guy's out here just milking the whole thing, acting. He's doing this, oh, it was so tough to cancel these things. It's so difficult. It's not difficult to be the head of the table, pick out what projects to eliminate from the ones that you greenlit without any demand from the audience or without any hype or any reasoning other than political pandering that got you absolutely nowhere and has made you lose all this money. Ironheart and Agatha being prime examples. They got given shows based off of absolutely nothing, no merit, no nothing. Anyways, for the most part, it looks like the fans pushing back and not accepting garbage and lowering standards has finally led to some uncomfortable conversations backstage over at Disney, at least, where they can no longer spin the racism narrative, the homophobe narrative, the sexism narrative. Now that they're actually taking serious losses across the board over at the movies, Disney Plus, the parks, the Star Wars hotel, everything, they have nowhere to run. They have to accept the L's and take the humbling. Remember, they're a business. We know that with businesses, they will do whatever it takes to get the money, especially with a company as hungry as Disney. Especially when they're this down bad, they will do anything for that money. And as we've seen in the past with China, for example, they're willing to do some dodgy stuff. It took them long enough to realize and have some self-awareness, but at least it's happening. Now, I'm not saying it's game over and we've won and all of that stuff, not at all, but it's a step in the right direction. Unless it's all Disney PR and Bob Iger's chatting shit and pretending, which wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. It's what these corporate losers tend to do. I imagine they're still pushing ahead with that Rey film no one asked for, and I've even heard rumours that The Acolyte Season 2 is already being discussed, even though Season 1 hasn't come out yet and no one asked for Season 1. So from the mixed signals, it looks like only Star Wars will keep dying. Us wanting good entertainment is labelled toxic and negative, even though our criticism is helping them to learn so that they can make more money and more good decisions in future occasions. They keep doing the preachy politics in general, base projects on said politics like the Eternals, the Marvels, all of that stuff. If they want to do that, then that's fine, but hire people that can actually write good stories, actors and actresses that won't rub everything in your face about how they're this and they're that and it's inclusive and it's diverse. They want to do all the preaching, we just want the entertainment. It's called fiction for a reason. But yeah, as always, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, drop a like on the video, sub to the channel if you haven't already, as we are on this road to 600 subscribers. Thank you for your time and have a great rest of your day.